Hello, welcome to Gurukul's Cat 100 series, a series that's designed specifically to take you from your study room to the corporate boardroom. I am Pradyumna Sharma and this is Verbal Mastery with Prady.
Hello everyone, welcome back to day 90 of our 100 days to cat test series. Now, we have 5 VA questions for you today. In case you want to take these up as a test, all you've got to do is go on to www.thegurukul.org.in and sign up for a 100 days to cat test series. If you want to follow along with this video, then this is your first question of the day. Pause the video here, go through this question and answer it, and then we'll move on to the second question of the day. Now, this is the second question of the day. Pause the video here, go through it and answer it, and then we're going to go into the third question of the day. This is your third question of the day. Pause the video here, go through this and answer it, and then we'll go into the fourth question of the day. This is the fourth question of today. Pause the video here, go through it and answer it, and then we're going to go into the last question of today. Now, this is the last question of today. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we're going to go into look at the explanations of all these questions. Now, the first question is an odd one out type of a question. So basically there will be 4 sentences which are going together and 1 sentence that's not. Now, let's look at which sentence is not actually going together, which sentence is not tying up with the other 4. First sentence says, though food can segregate people along class, ethnic and religious lines, it can also bring together and solidify community. So what do I see? I see that this line is talking about food and segregation or congregation of people. Right, so that's what I get to see. Second one, eating enhances our moral sensibilities and enlivens our spirits and obliges us to acknowledge our own dependency and reminds us of the fragility of life. Okay, now this talks about eating as well. Okay, but this talks about fragility of life and personal, uses of eating instead of communal or congregational uses. Right. However long humans have been eating, they've been doing it together. So again, here also I see some sort of communal, use case of eating, just like in the first sentence. Fourth one, anthropologists have for some time observed that food is a window into how society functions. Now, here again I'm looking at anthropologists who are looking at food, okay, and talking about how society is functioning. So this somewhere talks to me about communality, okay, of how society is coming together and functioning, right? So that way. From the first hunter-gatherer societies to our contemporary hot cuisine, food has always been enmeshed in elaborate social rituals, codes, mores and expectations. So again, this also talks about how food has been a very integral part, okay, of all our stories, of our main characters, of our rituals, everything. So it has some communal value. So clearly 1, 3, 4 and 5 have some communal value, whereas 2 is a personal use of eating or personal value. So definitely 2 should be my odd man out. Now, what about the order in which these should be placed? I see that 4 should be the first one because this is the most general statement. Now, this talks about how anthropologists have been observing. Now, chronologically, if I go, the next sentence would be 5. Yes, which says from then till now, this is what I'm looking at. So clearly 4, 5 should be together and the next sentence would be 3. However long humans have been eating, they've been doing it together, right? So this should be the next statement, and then finally I'll go with 1, that though food can segregate people, it can also solidify communities. So my correct answer would be 2 and the correct order would be 4, 5, 3 and 1. Now let's move into the second odd man out question. So in this question, the first sentence says, researchers have, however, known that species of ant called Azteca sericocer is adept at keeping berry borer populations at bay. Fair enough. So here I talk about, an ant which is, keeping some insect away, right? Second one, their adults mate their only pregnant female seeking another berry to lay their eggs actually see the light of day. Now very clearly this is talking to me about the berry borer insect. Yes, and part of the life cycle of this berry borer insect, fine. Berry borers spend most of their lives inside the berries, their eggs hatch there and their larva feed, grow and pupate there. Again, this also talks to me about the berry borer insect alone. This makes attacking beetles with insecticides tricky. Now, what makes attacking beetles with insecticides tricky? Right, now I do not understand why this is the important part. This makes attacking beetles, we've not spoken about beetles so far, right? 5 says, few pests wreak more havoc on coffee plantations than berry borer beetle. Okay, so probably this berry borer is nothing but a type of a beetle. Okay, so now maybe my first thought that 4 is direct odd man out does not work. So if I'm looking at these 4 sentences, 2, 3, 4 and 5, I see that I'm talking about the life cycle of a berry borer beetle and why it is, kind of tricky to attack it, right? Whereas this talks to me specifically about an ant which is, good at keeping berry borer populations away. Okay, it's very good at keeping berry borer populations limited, right? So according to me, these 4 sentences go together. So 1 would be the odd man out. Now, as far as the correct order for these sentences goes, we see that few pests wreak more havoc on coffee plantations than berry borer beetle introduces the berry borer beetle. So obviously this becomes a very general statement in this particular set of sentences, and then we can continue with this and say that these beetles, okay, why are we talking about it? Because this makes attacking the beetles with insecticides tricky. So once we say that this makes attacking beetles with insecticides tricky, then we could probably talk about why it's making, why is it hard for us to attack those beetles? Probably because of 2 and 3, right? Because most of them always stay together, most of them are always inside over there and only leave, the berry plants when they are trying to go out and lay eggs, right? So probably we can say that post 5, we can look at 3, which is a bit more general, because here when we say their adults, these are the berry borer adults, right? Yes, so this 3 is a little bit more general, and then comes 2. So we see that few pests are harder to, few pests wreak more havoc. Then we talk about berry borers who spend a lot of their times inside the berries. Then we say a little bit about their lifetime, and that is why, because they are always staying inside, that is why, okay, or that makes attacking the beetles with insecticides very tricky, because probably it will infect the berries as well. So that would be the correct order, 5, 3, 2 and 4, and the first one would be our odd man out. Now let's go to the third question. Again, there are 5 sentences which are given below, and this is also an odd man out kind of a question. Now in this, the first sentence says, modern art is that which was created sometime between 1860s and late 1960s. Art was called modern because it did not build on what came before or rely on the teachings of art academics. Okay, so I understand that here we're talking about what modern art, or when modern art really came. Okay, and here we are saying art was called modern because it did not build on something. Okay, so probably again we're talking about modern art only. 3. The difference between modern and contemporary art based on rough date ranges established by art historians, art critics, curator, art institutions and the like. So here I see that we are talking about modern art versus contemporary art. Now the fourth one says art made thereafter, example conceptual, minimalist, postmodern, feminist, is considered as contemporary. So I can clearly see that in 4 we have moved on to contemporary art. So probably me thinking that there is only one theme of modern art should not be the right way to go forward. Fifth one, they recognize distinct shift that took place marking the end of modernism and the beginning of contemporary age. So now this tells me that there has been a clear shift, right, from modernism to contemporary. So obviously 5 should come before 4, and 3, which is telling me that the difference between modern and contemporary art is based on this, should definitely come before 5 and 4. So I can clearly see that 3, 5 and 4, okay, is together. Now first sentence which says modern art is that which is created between sometime 1860s and 1960s should come before 1, because in 1 also we are talking about rough date ranges. So 1, 3, 5 and 4 should be together, and the odd man out should be 2. Now let's go to the fourth question of this passage. This is a para summary type of a question, so let's read the paragraph and try to understand what the paragraph talks about. When people need more water, they often build dams to increase water supply, but dams increase water use in an unsustainable way, leading communities to live beyond their water means. Reservoirs can indeed create a false sense of abundance in places where the natural water availability does not fit the population it's hosting. Dams and other water supply infrastructure can also make communities less resilient because they mask droughts. Communities may be less likely to reduce their water use until shortages get dire, forcing a sharp reckoning. So basically what's he talking about over here? He's clearly telling us that yes, when people want to have more water, when they have more utility of water, they create dams, they construct dams. But these dams give us a false sense of security. That means these are not actually, telling us that we are very secure. They're giving us a false sense of security. Why? Because we think that there's always a lot of water in the dam, so we do not get the real sense of how less water we really have. We keep overusing water, which leads to a very, very sharp realization when the water level gets extremely dire. That means it extremely goes dry. Okay, when the conditions get very, very bad. So let's check which of these options actually makes sense. Now A says man-made reservoirs create false sense of water abundance and make water used by local communities unsustainable. Fair enough, this looks like a good option, but somewhere this is a partial scope option. Why? Because it only talks about man-made reservoirs and it does not really refer to the whole water supply in general. So this is a partial scope answer which we can take out. B says artificial reservoirs. Now these artificial reservoirs are nothing but dams, correct, and as well as water supply infrastructure create a false sense of water security. That means it's talking about masking out droughts and all of that, and lead to unsustainable water use. So this clearly captures most of the ideas that we have in the passage. So this is a good answer so far. C, dams and water supply infrastructure mask droughts. Very good, yes. And people are less likely to reduce their water use until droughts occur. Now this part again fails to establish that people are unsustainably using it. So this is not going to be the correct answer. D, water supply infrastructure makes water use by communities unsustainable as they tend to waste water. Now the point about D is it's a very good answer, but the one small part is they tend to waste water. Now this is a little judgmental, which goes against the tone of the passage. So we're going to eliminate this answer and the best possible answer becomes B. Now for the last question of this day, this is also a para summary question. These are difficult days for liberal democracy, but all of the threats that have arisen in the recent years, populism, nationalism, illiberalism, one stands out as a key enabler of the rest. The proliferation and weaponization of disinformation. That means what? For all the threats that we've had seen in the last few recent years of all these threats, the one thing that is bigger than all of this and which enables these is the proliferation, means spreading and weaponization of disinformation. That means disinformation is the biggest threat that they have. The threat is not a new one. Governments, lobby groups and other interests have long relied on disinformation as a tool of manipulation and control. What is new is the ease with which disinformation can be produced and disseminated. Advances in technologies allow for the increasingly seamless manipulation of fabrication of video and audio, while the pervasiveness of social media enables false information to be rapidly amplified among receptive audience. So basically this part talks to me about disinformation being the real threat. And then I have the second part of the passage, which is saying that the reason why it's the real threat is because tech is developed, so this information is easy to spread, right, because of tech and social media. So these are the ideas, these are the two ideas that I get from the passage. Now let's look at the options about which option actually matches to it. The spread of disinformation in recent years exacerbated the threats to liberal democracy, especially from populism, nationalism and illiberalism. Yes, fair enough, but this is a partial scope choice. It does not tell me why or how the disinformation is being spread so much. So I'm going to take this off. B, liberal democracy is under threat from manipulated or fabricated audio and video spread through social media. Again, this is a very weak general kind of a statement, so does not hold much water. We can take this off. C, the threats to liberal democracy from populism, nationalism and illiberalism are now exacerbated by the spread of disinformation through social media. Fair enough. So far compared to the first two, this actually captures most of the ideas in the right tone. So I'm going to just keep this aside. D, the ease with which this information can be produced and disseminated. Now see, here we're actually talking about the way in which and the reason why, okay. Too receptive audience has exacerbated the threats to liberal democracy in recent years. So compared to C, D now makes more sense because it captures both the ideas in the accurate tone. So we're going to remove C, and the best possible answer for us would be D. Now, if you watched this video till here, please do not forget to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with a friend who's preparing for CAT 2025. I'll see you in the next video.
Hope you enjoyed learning from today's session.
This series is designed to help you with your CAT preparation and practice daily. We are with you in this journey.
To watch the next video, click here. And to watch Gurukul's CAT 100 series, study room to boardroom, the entire playlist, click here.
If you learned from today's session, like, share, and subscribe.